USC played Oregon at Autzen, as they call it, on Saturday, yesterday, and they lost to the Ducks 42-27. Uh, I got to say, before I say anything else, this kid, what's his name? Uh, Hines, Canute Hines. Is that how you say his name? Number 16. Uh, he had a hell of a game. Oregon, they mostly shut Makai Lemon down. Though I thought I think he caught a couple of touchdown passes, but they mostly shut him down. And yeah, that kid, he's the next one up. He's the next big uh, thing for USC at the receiver position. You got to expect that Makai Lemon will go pro after this season. Expect to be a first round pick, and then Jacoby Lane. I remember um, when Steve Smith stayed for his senior year in 2006. So I wonder if Jacoby looks at this and goes, well, if once Makai leaves, now maybe he comes back for his senior year, so he can be the true number one guy, and see if he could boost his draft stock from wherever he is to maybe higher, like maybe up into the first round or something like that. But yeah, the kid 16, number 16, he's the future there for USC. And then as far as the game went, I didn't think USC could beat Oregon. I basically look at Oregon as like USC staring into their future, or what they hope their future is. Like maybe in a year or two. And if Oregon has been good ever since Chip Kelly was there, basically. So they've been so good, pretty much. Well, other than when they had to fire Mark Helfrich, but they've had over the last 15 years, they've had a lot less ups and downs than USC has had. So their program is run a, it's run a, they're like a little bit more of a machine than USC is right now. Now I know USC could play with Oregon. I just didn't think they could beat them. Like I said, Oregon is just further along. Hopefully, in a year or two, USC will be able to be as good as Oregon. Oregon was without some of their key guys at receiver and at running back. But, Oregon's not really the type of team that they're not really the type of team that like they don't have like a true number one receiver like how USC has with Kai Lemon. Really even like Jacoby Lane was probably the best receiver on Oregon. But they have a lot of depth, and they were able to just come up there and just keep doing what they do, and they locked themselves into the playoffs. And I think them missing those guys, yeah, it's like okay, like I said, they don't really have a true number one receiver. They have like a kind of like a receiver by committee, and then you like at USC, you can't forget they're still without Waymon Jordan, and Eli Sanders things out for the season. I'm not sure if Waymon Jordan will be back. King Miller, of course, has been killing it, but he couldn't. The Ducks shut him down yesterday. So, I'm not too down about it. Of course, hoping USC could win. I would have gotten them 9-2 and put them in, firm position for their first ever college football playoff berth. But yeah, I think that if they can just finish strong here and got to beat UCLA next week, which is not guaranteed. Anytime it's a rivalry game, you never know what's going to happen. There was a point earlier in the season where USC, after looking like one of the worst teams in college football, one of the Power 5 conferences, they started playing a little better. Lately, it hasn't been as good. But when you got LA kids playing against LA kids, there's a lot of pride and stuff like that. Even though I don't know, USC, since they start recruiting California until this upcoming recruiting class, who knows? I don't even know how many LA kids USC has on their roster. But I think you got to take care of that. I always remember like the second most The three worst losses of the Pete Carroll era to me at USC, obviously the loss to Texas, and then the loss to Arizona. I'm sorry, not Arizona. It was Oregon State in 2008, the Quiz Rogers game, him and his brother. Um, that one, which if not for that, USC would have been in the title game again that year. And then also, but the 2006 game against UCLA, when it's the year after Bush and Leonard and Lindale and those guys, they all go pro. USC comes back, they're 10-1 the next year with John David Booty, one of Pete Carroll's best coaching performances. And they go out there against UCLA and they lose 13-9 at the Rose Bowl. So yeah, definitely I mean that was the second worst loss of the USC era. I'll never forget when that kid, forget his name. I think he was a linebacker. And when he tipped the ball up in the air and turned around and caught it before he hit the ground, I remember when that happened. My dad was shocked. My dad was blown away by that play when that happened. But yeah, that would suck because we would have been back in the Natty against who won that year? That was Florida, right? Who won it? Florida beat, I think, Ohio State. So yeah, but it you got to finish strong. The hope that would get them to 9-3, and then you got the bowl game against whatever bowl game they would get, which that would be like the ice on the cake. 10-3 season is good in this age of college football. So if you go 10-3, you got the number one recruiting class coming in. I mean, that's not bad at all, if you ask me. All right. So yeah, USC. It's just good. They were able to I feel like they've kind of righted the ship. Again, they have to finish strong, but I feel like they've kind of righted the ship this year. After two straight down seasons, if they can get to 9-3 and then 10-3 and finish like that, even if they just finish in the regular season 9-3 and they lose the bowl game, but if they can finish 10-3, 10-3, that's a nice mark. And yeah. Once again, that UCLA game is not a guaranteed victory.